What is this, and why should we talk about it? I'm Joseph. This is Input English. Many of us who have played golf might refer to this as the wily golf ball. Wily suggests that the golf ball is clever or deceptive, perhaps cunning, perhaps deceitful. Those of us who have played golf frequently have a love-hate relationship with this ball and with the game of golf. Today I'd like to talk about my love-hate relationship with the game of golf. I've identified 5 things that I really like about golf, and I've identified 5 things that I really don't like about golf. At the moment, at the present time, I'm not playing golf regularly. To my recollection, the last time I played golf was in about 2009. It's been a long time. So let's start at the beginning. I didn't grow up playing golf. I never played golf until I was in high school. It appeared to me that my parents were going through a phase at that time. They were trying new things. They were exploring and trying to entertain themselves. This was a time of optimism in the United States. The U.S. space program was putting astronauts into space and taking them to the moon. So optimism was very much at work during this phase of my life. Well, my parents were also fairly optimistic, and at some point they cooked up the idea that they should join the country club. They had never been a member of a country club before, but they decided to join a country club. When one joins a country club in the United States, one usually needs to pay a lot of money as an initiation fee, as a buy-in. People buy their membership of a country club. After the initiation fee, there are regular fees, regular payments that need to be made to maintain that membership. So when I was in high school, my parents decided to become members of the country club. One of the big activities in the country club was golf. So my dad and I took golf lessons. My dad had golf clubs. He already owned a set of golf clubs, but I did not. So he purchased a set of used golf clubs for me to use. They were pretty good. They were not the latest style with the latest technology, but they were good golf clubs. I took some lessons with my sister, and we learned the basics. During high school and college, I played a lot of golf. My roommate and I in college really liked to play golf as opposed to study. And the university had a golf course that was very cheap. It was very affordable. As I recall, it was about $2 to play a round of golf. When somebody plays a round of golf, they might play 9 holes, or they might play all 18 holes. On this golf course, there were 18 holes, and we referred to the front 9, the first 9 holes, and then the back 9, the last 9 holes. We really liked to play the front 9, and we didn't enjoy the back 9 very much at all. The other way we played golf in college was when we played at night. That might seem very odd. How could you play golf at night when it's dark? Well, it has to be under lights. In the same town where we were going to college, there was a small golf course that was built with lights everywhere. And so when the sun went down, they would turn the lights on and we would play under this light. The holes were very short. It was called a par 3 because for each hole, one was allocated 3 shots to get the ball in the hole to make par. This small golf course under lights was only 9 holes. It only had the front 9. For a lot of us, when we play golf when we can, and then life shows up. For me, there were many years that I didn't have time to play golf, and so I didn't. After college, it was probably nearly 20 years before I played golf again. I played with a friend of mine at his country club, and for the most part, I enjoyed that experience. So what are the 5 things about golf that I like? Number 1, the walking exercise. Most of the time when I played golf, I walked the course. Some courses require players to rent a golf cart, but when I was allowed to, I would either carry my bag or pull it on a small cart, but I would walk the entire game. The exercise when playing golf is mostly derived from the walking. Number 2, golf challenges us to develop skills. In this respect, golf is similar to most sports. Most sporting activities require the player to have developed skills in order to be successful. As we have learned, people learn skills by observation and experience. With golf, both components turn out to be very important. Experience with no observation doesn't generate good results. Observation with no experience does not generate good results. The combination of both can generate a very good golf player. Number 3, golf is never boring. Each hole, each shot presents the player with a big challenge. I cannot ever remember being bored on a golf course. Never. Number 4, good equipment and good training make a big difference. However, these 2 ingredients are not enough without experience. Number 5, golf is a slice of life. It allows us to strive for improvement and compete with others in a very safe environment. Golf allows us to spend enjoyable time with people who we like. So what are the 5 things about golf that I do not like? Number 1, it can be very frustrating. When I first started playing golf and took my lessons, I practiced and I wanted to hit the ball farther. Conventional wisdom for hitting a ball farther would be that you have to hit it harder. In golf, you actually have to hit it better, not necessarily harder. So when I first started playing golf, I would set up the shot, get ready to swing, and my mental image of what I was going to do was kill the ball. I needed to use all my strength to put all the power I could into that ball so that it would go as far as possible. The problem with that mindset in golf is it seldom generates good results. The harder I tried to hit a ball a long way, the less likely it was that the ball would do my bidding. The less likely it would be that the ball would actually go a long distance. So that is one of the things about golf that I did not like. That is, it appeared that the harder I tried, the worse the results became. Number 3 is actually a concern or a worry, and that is pesticides. Golf courses are known for their very even grass, where the grass is very homogeneous and devoid of weeds. Having been around golf courses, I observed that they used pesticides to maintain the golf course. And then later I realized that if I spent a lot of time on golf courses, I might be absorbing some of those pesticides. I'm not certain what the current status of pesticide exposure on golf courses would be, but it's a concern that I have. I would not want to be exposed to a bunch of pesticides because I was trying to get out in nature. In reality, a golf course is not nature. Golf courses are highly modified, very carefully kept, and I don't construe that a golf course is natural by any means. Number 4, water utilization. Northern California has some challenges with our water supply. We have had big droughts where water became scarce, and we have a lot of agriculture in Northern California that needs water. Golf courses irrigate their fairways to maintain them in good condition, and that results in a lot of water utilization. In the United States, it is very popular to build golf courses in desert locations. Arizona, California, Southern California, many places with a very arid climate have beautiful green golf courses which require a lot of irrigation. And number 5, elitism. Now this is subjective. There are people who might watch this video and disagree with me. You are welcome to your opinion, of course. In my opinion, golf, as it is played in the United States, is relatively elitist. The equipment is expensive, the greens fees are expensive, country club memberships are expensive. There is really nothing very affordable about golf. There is a culture of elitism that you might identify in golf. When I held up this ball, you might have been able to see, perhaps not, that it is a Titleist. It reads Titleist 1. So there's a lot of information right there. Titleist is an iconic brand of golf ball. It is played worldwide, and they're a little expensive. There are many brands of golf ball that are much cheaper than Titleists. The other marking on this ball is number 1. The standard Titleist golf ball has a number on it so that the players can tell their ball from a ball being played by someone else. You could have a foursome, that is, you could have a group of 4 people playing the same hole at the same time, and they might all be playing Titleist golf balls. But each ball has a number on it, and the standard Titleist series is numbered 1 through 4. So players could compare the number that they are playing so that they could avoid any confusion if 2 balls landed near each other and it was necessary to identify who owned which ball. The Titleist also has a more premium series of golf balls, which are more expensive, and their numbers are 5 through 8. So if you are playing on a golf course and you're playing a Titleist 6 and someone else is playing a Titleist 3, you have physical evidence that is easy for everyone to see that you are playing with a more expensive, fancier golf ball. I would submit that it is not an accident that I have a Titleist 1 golf ball here, because I've never set the priority to buy a fancy elitist golf ball. When I was in college, because the university managed a school-owned golf course, I was able to play very inexpensively. My clubs were bought by my parents, and my lessons were paid for by my parents. So I didn't have to spend a lot of money. If someone wants to take up the game of golf, there are significant expenses, and I find it a bit of a challenge for me to accept because of the apparent elitism. That doesn't mean the game is bad or that people shouldn't play it. It's just one of the things about golf that I don't particularly like. So earlier, I pointed out that golf can be a slice of life. It's an endeavor for us to develop skills, compete with others, and it is an activity that very effectively prevents boredom. More recently, I've realized that there is a great parallel between golf and language learning. In both cases, we are talking about the development of skills by observation and experience. In both cases, one can practice badly and develop some very bad habits. In both cases, keen observation of the correct way to do things results in practice that is more effective. Will I ever start playing golf again? Will I take it up again and play golf regularly? I don't know. I'm not certain of that. It has its benefits, but it's got its downside. For people who are busy, golf has a big downside. It takes a lot of time. If one plays a round of golf, that's going to take all morning or all afternoon. It is not a quick process. It is a very large chunk of time that one needs to allocate to each round of golf. So I can say for sure, for the short term, I have no plans to return to playing golf regularly. Actually, for me, language learning is my golf. The one thing I don't get from language learning per se is regular exercise. Now, I can craft a solution for that by taking a walk and listening to input during that walk. Exercise is not really an integral part of language learning. But everything else that golf helped me do is represented in language learning. I can develop new skills. I can observe the correct way to use my target language by listening to input and reading input. With language learning, a lot of our practice is listening practice, because one of the key skills we want is listening comprehension, and that requires a lot of practice. The way I study Spanish with comprehensible input, there is no exposure to pesticides. And using comprehensible input has nothing to do with elitism. I invite comments below, and if you like videos like this, be sure to click on this one next. See you soon.